Hi everybody, welcome to Dandelion Cottage and Paper Crafting Thursday. I'm Leslie Watkins. I hope everybody's well today and I hope you are enjoying the beautiful weather. Here in Northwest Connecticut, it has turned a little bit cool and I actually have the windows closed today to try to warm it up a little bit. I'm very excited to share with you my spread in my travel journal for meetup number 3. So I've just returned from New Hampshire, and hold on while I just get my page set up here, making sure that we are live. And yes, I see it. It looks good. Something's a little funny, but I'm pretty sure you can see the sunflowers on the screen. So anyway, I had my third meetup with Lulu's Way in New Hampshire, and I was there with a bunch of old friends and new friends. We had a blast. They just keep getting better and better. And the meetup is something for senior women who like to camp and travel and get together with one another and just share and have a wonderful time. And that's exactly what I did. So for 3 days, we sang, we danced, we shared stories, we went to the local market where the sunflowers were on sale, as well as peaches and apples. It was delicious, and so I'm excited to start working on my next spread for my travel journal that is documenting the meetups that I go to and some other adventures that I'm having as I travel around in my Subaru Forester. Now, Dion's Glamping Journey with 2 Y's at the end is a YouTube channel, and she featured a tour of my Subaru Forester if you'd like to see that. And you can find that on YouTube. And you can also go to Lulu's Way on YouTube, and you can see some of the videos that she shared of this past meetup and also of the previous one as well. Tremendous fun. So I thought that since I'm new to journaling, the first couple of spreads I did, I was sort of concentrating on figuring out how to get my photographs printed, how to get them sized properly, how to put the spreads together, and get an idea of the design. And now that I've got a lot of that under my belt, I want to start expanding my options. And one of the problems that I experienced with the previous spreads was that even though I thought it was a good sized spread, there wasn't enough room to do as much journaling as I would like. So with this next spread, I'm going to be introducing new areas for journaling. So that may include journal cards, it may include pockets, it may include flips and flaps, and who knows where it will take me. But in the meantime, I wanted to use these beautiful sunflowers as the theme for this particular spread. So here they are again. And these are the actual flowers that I bought while I was still in New Hampshire, and they're still going strong. They look as beautiful as they did the day I bought them. And I thought what I would do is do a little watercolor painting of the sunflowers as a background, and maybe do a couple of individual ones to use as cutouts. So instead of using a die cut, I'm actually going to fussy cut them and create my own 3D effect with the sunflowers. So that's what we're going to do today, and I hope you'll enjoy it. And if you'd like to watch more of these videos on my travel journal, you can go to my YouTube channel, which is Dandelion Cottage Design, and find the playlist for the Butterfly Tribe Travel Journal, and I will be keeping all the videos there so you can follow along step by step. So let's get busy. These sunflowers are so big, I'm going to have a little bit of a problem arranging them on the desk here so that you can also see what I'm painting. But this looks pretty good. Now, I have these things. So to give you a quick review, and hold on while I get back to my page here. There we go. Okay, so as a quick review, I'm using the hanging file folders to create my spreads. And so I have a couple more right here, and I'm going to show you from scratch how I get the spreads prepared. I have in my front pocket here, I have a few odds and ends that I'd like to incorporate in this current spread, but I haven't sized them and photographed them yet, so that'll be coming up. And here you have an idea of the first spread that I made. As you can see, there's not enough room here for me to do any journaling. My second and my third, the same issue. I've got so many pictures, which I love, but I'm going to think about ways of creating flips and flaps, maybe using a few less pictures, maybe having some accordion pullouts and pockets and that sort of thing so that I can increase my art and journaling area. So that's where we're at right now. And for my next one, I'm going to be using this beautiful yellow cardstock as my mat. And let me show you. I'm going to pull out my trimmer, grab the file folder, pull off that tab, and what I do is I simply line this spot where the fold over is with the top of the brace here, and also I'm lining it up so that the track, the cutting track, is directly underneath there. And once I've got that pretty much where I want it, I'm just going to run my blade and remove this, okay, because that is now of no use to me. I'm going to flip it around, do the same thing on this side, just lining that up carefully on my trimmer to make sure that the cutting track is lined up so that's nice and straight. Now sometimes I find that because of the thickness of the metal hooks in the trimmer, I might get a little piece, I'll get this so you can see it, I might get a little piece that just kind of doesn't cut all the way through, and I'm just going to snip that away. There we go. All right, so that's it. It's as simple as that. Anybody can do it. There's my spread, and then what I will do is I will mount my yellow cardstock like so, and I've also cut a couple of pieces of this watercolor paper that I'm going to mount on top of there, so I have a little bit of a yellow border, and then I'm going to go ahead and paint that. So that's what we're going to do today. Let me get this out of the way so it doesn't get wet. And I think for this I'm going to pull out my glass mat, because this could get kind of wet. I'm looking for a kind of an overall wet and wet, very loose, sort of impressionistic background. And let's put this big vase back here. Hopefully that won't tip. All right, I'm getting a shadow on there. Hold on, folks. Let me move the flowers over even more. And that should help. Okay, that's a little bit better. They're so big. Okay, so this watercolor paper is not my best watercolor paper. In fact, I'm not even sure what it is, but it's going to serve this purpose perfectly well. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give it a good spritz. I'm going to flip that over. Spritz the other side as well. And I'm getting this fairly wet. I don't want it soaking wet. I want to make sure that the water has a minute to be absorbed by the paper. So I'm just letting that paper kind of suck up all that moisture. It's a cold press paper. I'm going to say it's about a 90 or 140 pound. I don't think it's 140 pound. I think it's about 90 pound paper. So not too thick, but plenty thick enough for a layer, because once you combine the mats, the watercolor paper, the photographs, the other die cuts, it starts to get pretty thick. So I don't want to use my thickest watercolor paper for this. All right, now these are plenty wet, and I want to make sure that I haven't left any spots that did not get covered with water. As I'm doing this, I'm also stretching the paper a little bit. As the paper absorbs the water, it expands, and so I'm just kind of helping that along. You can lift up the sides. You see this, how that's lifting? That's because it's the water is uneven. So I'm just going to flip it this way, make sure that I get that edge, and then that will lie down nicely. You see those bubbles? When you get that, that's called buckling. All you want to do is just sort of roll the paper down so that it's nice and even. Okay, I think we're ready to go. I'm putting the two pieces together because I want to paint them as if they were one. even though I cut them apart ahead of time. Now for this, I'm going to use a great big brush. So I have my, my Japanese brush here. I also have some of these beautiful Chinese brushes. And I'm just going to grab this great big one. Get that wet. Now I'm trying to move this over a little bit so you can see my portion of my palette. Now if I mix my red and my blue, it's going to give me a violet, and I can add some of my yellow to that, and that's going to neutralize it and give me a kind of a warm brownish tone that I can use for my centers. I can go a little darker right, so that's starting to look like something. Now, I'd like to give those petals a little more definition, so I'm going to switch now to my slightly smaller brush. And this time, I'm going to mix up, see if I can move this up a little. There we go. This time I'm going to mix up a darker yellow and looks like I might be having some broadcasting issues here. Let me see if I can fix that. There we go. That looks all right, sort of. I don't know. Something funny's going on. Can you all see me? All right. Well, I'm going to keep going. It looks like in one device it looks okay, and the other device it doesn't look so good. I'm just going to keep moving. So, adding some of this darker yellow mixture, I just added a little more red to my yellow, and I made the paint thicker. So it's a stronger mix. And the paper's still wet enough that the color is moving very nicely all on its own. I'm letting the color mix on the paper itself. And what I'm sketching here are some of the pleats that are in the petals. So they're not just flat petals. They have these beautiful little grooves and waves, and I just want to indicate that. And some of the places where the petals overlap one another and create a little bit of shadow. I also really like how the paint is separating and showing some of the reds and the blues and the violets. You don't have to apply the paint as if it were wall paint. Okay, let the paint have some life to itself. All right, now a lot of this will not be seen once I get the pages all assembled, so I don't have to put too much detail here, just the impression of the paint as I go along. And I also want to include a little bit of the green from the leaves and the stems and all the beautiful characteristics of the backs of the sunflowers, which are just absolutely beautiful to look at. And I want to vary my greens, so now I'm adding a little more yellow to warm that up here and there. Okay, I can see that Kelly says that I'm fine, so hopefully you are able to see me. I can't see myself, so I'm glad to know that it's still broadcasting. I'm just going to keep painting as if everything's fine. And I also want some dark greens, so for that adding more blue to my green mixture, make it a little bit darker here and there, not too much. Also, I'm holding my brush towards the end so that the tip of the brush can dance on the surface a little bit better. All right, I don't want to hold it as if I were writing and trying to control that. You know, clutching the brush to control it. I want it to have the freedom of movement. And then finally, I'm going to go back into my violet mixture, and this time make a very dark, kind of a blue violet, and I just want to, it might be too wet, but I just want to see if I can get a little bit of that texture. So this is where the seed heads will form, and there's going to be quite a bit of action going on here. So I just want to get that kind of hinted at. All right, so I think that's enough for now. I may want to come back in once it's dry and add a little more color, because remember, your painting is going to dry a little bit lighter than it looks when it's wet. I'm going to add a little more yellow here and there. I want this to be colorful, filled with all the exuberance of these gorgeous flowers. Also, once it's entirely dry, I will go around the edges and apply paint to the edges as if I were sponging, to make sure that I don't have that white core showing. I can just get that started now. All right. So we'll put this aside, let that dry. That's going to take a little bit to dry. In the meantime, I have another piece of paper, and you can see this is a scrap piece of watercolor paper. And now what I want to do is I just want to create some basic sunflower shapes that I will then come back and cut out. So using the point of the brush, just adding my petal shapes. I'll do a couple of them. I'll do 3. And I'm twirling my brush around so that the point, or the tip of the brush, is pointing outwards away from the center of the sunflowers. Okay, now somebody's telling me that I'm frozen. Oops. Let's try it again. Well, hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Just repeating the same procedure as I did in the previous flowers. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the leaves separately. So I'll just make a basic leaf shape. I'm going to add a little more paint. Here and there. And while I'm at it, how about a stem? Going back into my petals with the darker yellow. And going full strength with my yellow. I'm looking for that variation. And then finally back into my centers. So this is with the mixture of the yellow, red, and blue all together. So starting with a kind of a violet mixture and then adding a little bit of yellow as I need it to get that beautiful rich brown tone. And then my dark violet accent. And the color mixing is all happening on the paper. I'm not doing anything except just dropping the color into these wet puddles. All right, so I think that'll do it. So if I hold this up to the light, you can see how wet these things actually are. Okay, so they're very wet. I'm going to put all of this aside to dry, and then once it's dry, I'm going to fussy cut around, and I just had another idea. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some extra petals as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and make some brush strokes, because I can cut those out and see how they look. I may or may not. We'll see. This is an experiment. But I may want to add a few extra petals here and there just to give them that beautiful ruffled look. So we'll see. We'll see. This may be an extra step that doesn't come come to fruition, but we'll do a little experiment. All right, so I don't know if the camera conked out on me or not. I hope you could follow along as I was painting. And I will, once this is dry, I will assemble the pages, or at least the beginning of the pages. Maybe I'll print out a few photographs to share with you as well. I've got some wonderful, wonderful photographs. And I'll start playing around with the design and seeing how the spread will come together. So stay tuned for the next installment when I have all of my elements ready to go, my cutouts, my photos, my flips, flaps, and pockets, and I start putting them all together for the spread. So I hope you'll join me for that. In the meantime, stay well, stay happy, stay creative, and bye for now.